we have Brittany Bosowski, a Master of Education student specializing in mathematics education grades 7 through 12 from San Pedro, California. Brittany will present her essay project titled Unearthing Waste in Charity Food Systems, a data-driven evaluation of Feeding America's food bank supply chain. Welcome, Brittany. The floor is yours when you're ready.
So imagine opening a package from your local food bank and expecting to find fresh, nutritious, quality foods. Instead, you find foods that are ultra-processed or expired. Some foods you can't eat, and some don't even have expiration dates. Now imagine this is your primary food source. Our 6-week longitudinal study tracked 99 participants in a HUD-subsidized building in Cleveland, Ohio, in which we tracked what they kept or discarded and why, as the building relied heavily on food bank distributions. Our study found that over 2/3 of the food distributed was ultra-processed, and 72% of the participants were obese or morbidly obese. 60% reported that they were not able to eat the food due to cultural or medical restrictions, as well as 80% of the food that was expired had to be discarded. Generalizing nationwide, this compounds to millions of pounds of donated food meant to combat hunger are actually going to waste every year. Feeding America, the country's largest food banking network, Feeding America, the country's largest food banking network, receives $4 billion annually in donations, much of which stays within a tiered food bank system, which actually determines what quality food banks get. What does this mean? If food banks and food pantries don't have the money to pay for higher quality foods, they receive whatever is left. So better funded communities and wealthier areas get better choices, and poorer communities that serve the most vulnerable populations have the least choice, the most waste, and absolutely end up more empty-handed more often than not. When we see this happen, we identify the fact that food insecurity is not just about access, it's about quality. When this occurs, what we end up seeing is food insecurity leading into a cycle of health insecurity. When vulnerable populations are fed poor, nutritionless quality foods, we end up where communities end up with higher medical costs, hospitalizations, and prescription rates, which obviously pharmaceutical companies benefit from. They're not the only ones. They're not the only ones that benefit. Large grocery chains and food manufacturing companies also benefit from the system as they offload unsellable goods, tons and millions of pounds of unsellable goods, which then contribute to their tax write-offs for their donations. But does this make sense? As 19 of the board members and CEO from Feeding America, 12 currently hold or come from Walmart, General Mills, Morgan Stanley, John Deere, Ernst & Young. This is sadly not a conspiracy. This is an economic cycle. This is an economic cycle where we see charity and profit intertwine, and rather than recognizing conflicts of interest, they are more than often ignored. And profit comes before charity. We are not pointing here to point fingers. We are simply asking, are we actually addressing food insecurity, or are we hiding it behind expired cans and ultra-processed foods? Because if we really want to help fight hunger, we have to first start with identifying and questioning the system designed to feed it. Thank you.